Thanks for doing this, dude. I really, really appreciate you doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So you're a matchmaker. So would you call yourself that?
I wouldn't. It's funny, agencies call us search consultants, and I've never called myself that. I consider myself to be an agency engagement consultant.
Yeah.
So we help clients with their entire ecosystem of agencies. So we want them to amplify what they have for performance, rather than go out shopping for new agencies. When it's necessary to have a new agency, then we'll go about looking for a new agency. But the search part itself, the matchmaking part, is probably 3 hours of work. Yeah, the search part is absolutely nothing. That's just data.
Right.
So we'll start with a list of 100, and we'll get down to 20, and we'll make some phone calls, and we'll vet, and we'll get down to 10. We say, these are the 10 that we like, client, let's talk about them. Then maybe together we come up with 7. I contact those 7, and hopefully we come up with 5. So we start at the chemistry phase. We don't do RFIs. The reason why I don't consider myself a matchmaker is because, and maybe I should, but we are trying to chisel away at both ends. So the agency needs to be molded in order to fit a client. Okay, we need a strategist, we need a media person, we need a whatever.
Right.
And on the client side, they're just thinking, we need a new agency. Right. However, when we go and peel that onion, what happens is we learn why the previous agency partnerships failed.
Right.
And so we will do a lot of coaching on the client side on how to better engage with their new agency. And so we use the agency review as a platform, as an on-ramp to a partnership. And during the actual review process, we engage a lot with the agencies. We give them feedback at every stage, almost every day in certain cases, because we want them to know exactly where they stand at all times. If we just had a meeting and it didn't go well,
right,
I'll want them to know that.
Right.
And I'll want to coach them on course corrections. And that's not to help them win, it's to help them understand.
Right.
So that when they do land the business, they're ready to roll.
How do you do that pairing part of this? Like, how do you know which agency we write for what partner? Like, how do you, is it a vibe thing? Is it, how do you?
It's partly a science thing and a vibe thing. Yeah. So I've been doing this for 35 years and I meet agencies all the time. And what I'm looking for is, who are the human beings there? What are they like?
Right.
What do they enjoy? How do they like to work? And what turns them on? And there's an agency for everybody.
And you're trying to do the same at the client side. You're trying to pair people's sensibilities
that's exactly
and ambitions.
Right. On the client side, in my earlier days, I didn't know how to do this, but in my current days, if we don't have access to the C-suite of the client side organization, then we shouldn't be part of that project.
Right.
So we want to know about the culture of that company. We want to know what's keeping the CEO up at night. How does marketing function? What's marketing's reputation in the company? How does marketing support the endeavors? We want to talk to stakeholders that have nothing to do with marketing. And so the CMO is typically like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
And so the more we dive in, the more we understand kind of that whole puzzle. And once we do that, we're able to then take a look at the agency universe and go, okay, well, who are the people that we know out there that are going to be able to fit in this environment and also have the capacity to handle this type of account?
So interesting. I feel like people who maybe misunderstand your business don't even think about you doing stakeholder interviews outside of marketing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have to know everything about that company. And
because you're building an extension of that company.
We're their representative at that time, yeah.
Right. Are agencies structured right? I have a deeper version of that question, but I want to keep it at that.
Are agencies structured right?
Yeah, because so many people leave, because so many people come in, because they have to deal with so many clients. Are they structured are they all kind of structured the same? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that true?
When you know as many agencies as I do, it's hard to say that they're all structured the same. I don't think they are. I mean, yeah, there's that pyramid. There's a boss somewhere, and then there are people who do stuff. Right. But different agencies have different disciplines that they bring into the organization, and some I would say are not structured correctly for integration, and others are. Let's say you've got like a decent sized agency of about 300 people. Let's say they do media, they do PR, they do social, they do whatever.
Right.
And in some organizations, what has happened is each one of those things operates as a silo and as a profit center of its own, as a business sort of on its own. So,
Right.
so the PR people want PR business, and the so on and so forth. And what happens is you fill up these pillars with work, but then you don't have any case studies of any client using all of your services.
Right.
And so
that's what the client wants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's not a structural problem as much as it is a philosophical problem.
Is that because, do you find that usually in agencies that have consolidated and bought departments, or is it not? It's kind of all over.
Yeah. So in some cases you have acquisitions, and so here we we just bought this digital company, we just bought this data analysis company.
Right.
Oftentimes
They sit over there.
They sit over there. Yeah. And when they show up to the meeting, they're not even dressed like the other people.
Does the chemistry of the group itself matter?
Yeah, absolutely. That almost matters more than everything. When we in the audience see you guys joking around or finishing each other's sentences, or we want to be part of that.
Right.
That's a family.
Right.
If we sense dysfunction,
Yeah.
like
you can see that.
Yeah, we're leaving now.
Jerry Graff, when we used to win a lot earlier on, and Jerry Graff said, you guys are having fun. And
Yeah.
people can see that, and
Yeah.
people want to be a part of it.
That's exactly right.
And I thought that was such a beautiful way to think about it. He's like, it's not about the deck, it's not about the work. When we meet you,
Yeah.
you guys are having fun.
Yeah.
And people just want to be part of the party.
That is absolutely right. So that's also true in reverse. Sometimes I'll give feedback to an agency to say that, they weren't feeling the vibe, whatever, but clients sometimes control the vibe.
Right.
So let's say you have a mixture of people on the client side organization who don't normally work together, but now they formed some kind of committee for a search.
Right. Does that happen a lot? Probably.
That happens with bigger searches.
Yeah.
Where you've got like divisions, marketing people from different divisions coming together. They don't really know each other. They don't work together. They each have their own thing that they want out of the agency search. And so what happens in those cases is it's hard for the agency to have good chemistry with the client because the client doesn't have good chemistry with themselves.
Right.
And so it ends up being an awkward room.
Right. You're just hearing people from the other side saying,
Yeah.
from the PR point of view.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of whenever someone says like from a design point of view, I'm like, okay, there shouldn't be a design point of view.
No.
There should be a point of view.
Yeah.
And then design is part of that.
So recently I did a 4A's event called Speed Dating, and I met with 20 different agencies over 5 hours.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes apiece, 5-minute break, 10 minutes, 5-minute break. And I thought I was not going to remember anything. The beauty of it was 10 minutes is not enough time to give a presentation.
Yeah.
So these were all conversations. So I remember almost every one of the meetings.
Oh, interesting.
Because they were conversations. We were connecting. When an agency just presents, when they start out with a deck, every deck looks pretty much the same except for the colors and the arrows,
Do you think that's a case for don't start with a capabilities deck, start with just like have a conversation with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we meet with agencies, we meet with new agencies all the time, and they feel a lot of pressure to be ready for us and that their presentation has to be on point and all of this. That's all bullshit. Like what we want to know is the truth. Like who are you? Who are you as human beings? And so when we meet with new agencies, we introduce ourselves, then they almost don't introduce themselves and want to
because they want to do it in the deck.
Yeah, they want to do it in the deck. Exactly. And so there have been times when I've asked people to just take down the screen so we can just chat for a little bit.
Yeah. And do you think that's what clients want as well?
Yes, beyond a certain point. I think they want to know that you're qualified.
Yeah.
And once they know that you're qualified and capable, then the rest is, do they like you? Do they like how you're thinking?
Do you think the agencies put a lot of pressure on themselves on the positioning of the agency? And you said all of them are the same.
There is a lot of pressure on positioning. And
do you think it's because we're positioning people?
Yeah, I think that's a great insight. That's absolutely true.
Like we love positioning, so we want to position it. We want to have a nice sentence to say.
Well, the thing is, we're all looking for a unique positioning, and that just doesn't really exist.
Right. Right.
And there are several positionings that you can go with, and as long as it's true for who you are, then great.
Yeah.
As long as it's authentic, it doesn't have to be unique.
Does the positioning almost come from the chemistry and the presenting and the meeting of the things? It's like an intangible thing that you hold in your head. Instead of like how many sentences do you remember? Do you
Right.
remember any of them
No.
from capabilities decks?
No.
And
I like 3-word sentences. Those I can remember.
we are great.
Yeah.
That's ours. I'm just kidding. That would be awesome if like, we are great. Do you think the biggest disconnect? We've touched on this a little bit, but I want to be like, you just met with some marketers earlier on,
Yeah.
and then now you're meeting with somebody who owns an agency.
Yeah.
What do they not understand about us, and what do we not understand about them? That is the biggest chasm that you see.
Well, clients demand that you understand their business, and you tend to fill that chasm eventually. Clients never are asked to understand your business. And I don't know that clients really understand how agencies make money.
Should they? Is it a positive for them to?
I think they should. They need to understand how an agency operates so that they can drive that thing.
Right.
They will automatically be better clients if they understood where your pain points are as well.
Do you think agencies actually understand the client's business?
Not always, because the clients don't always allow it.
Right. Or do you think that there's a lot of people on the agency side that understand business?
Well, that varies across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does vary.
Is there a decent amount of people that do?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, some of the smartest people I know, or the smartest people I know, are on the agency side of the business. I don't think agencies lack the capacity to understand a client's business. I do think that the way clients brief agencies sometimes is inadequate.
With a lot of in-housing, are you seeing a lot of in-housing?
Yes, but not to the exclusion of, like not having
Agencies.
an agency. Yeah.
Are there a lot of agencies built to partner with clients that already have an in-house department?
More so than before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, we had a client that they called asking for a new agency, and in that conversation, we learned that they had had 4 agencies over 9 years.
Yeah.
So we had to call a timeout, and we asked them, are you willing to look at yourselves? Are you willing to look internally first before we do an agency search?
Yeah.
To compliment them, they said yes. And so what we discovered was the CMO and the head of marketing, or the VP of marketing, were in an ivory tower with a moat around it.
Right.
So then there was an internal agency protecting that moat.
Right.
Then there was an external agency dealing with the internal agency.
Yeah.
The internal agency was shaping everything, thinking that they understand the preferences of the people inside the ivory tower.
Right. So they were the conduit between them.
They were the conduit between them. So but what would happen is that's an enormous waste of time. And then by the time the idea got up to the ivory tower,
Yes,
it was
I've
just
been
a
there.
shitty idea.
Yeah.
And so what would happen? The agency would get fired. And
How did you restructure that?
well, the way we restructured that is to make sure that the CMO and the VP of marketing were actually the clients.
Right.
So in their new agency relationship, they are now the actual conduits,
Yeah.
in addition to the day-to-day people.
Yeah.
But the internal agency team, we noticed that they're not really an in-house agency. They are a number of, they're marketers with creative capabilities, let's say. But we needed to educate them on how collectively
Yeah.
they are the client.
Yeah.
And they are not to reshape what the external agency
Right.
does, but collectively communicate with the agency to give feedback.
What type of agents, when that works well, when it works well with a client that has an internal department, why does it work well? Is it just a kind of like a reporting lines, like?
I'm not sure I understand the question. When
does it work well with agencies that are supplying for a client that has an internal creative team? Like, when does that relationship work really, really well?
When the internal creative teams don't have a chip on their shoulder, when they understand that they are in partnership with the agency,
Right.
rather than in competition with the agency.
And when they understand that they're a part of the client and not a pseudo part of the agency.
That's right.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of internal creatives have the need to be on the agency side and part of the agency because they probably have been at agencies before and they want that, but they also feel bad for the agencies and whatever. But it ends up causing a weird chasm because then they are kind of sitting on the wrong side of the table.
That's right.
Because you are going to an agency to get outside perspective.
Right.
But then they're trying to translate that outside perspective into internal speak, which is the point of the agency goes away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hence that client who had 4 agencies in 9 years.
Right. Right. What type of agency would you want to see in the future? the future's here, but in the next couple of years that you maybe are worried that you might or might not get? Like, what change do agencies have to make that you are worried that the agencies won't make as fast?
I don't know that this is a direct answer to that question,
No.
but I have a lot of worries about the industry.
Yeah, tell me those.
One is the fast accumulation of assets. So agencies that grow really rapidly, really quickly via acquisitions.
Yeah.
And if they're growing really rapidly via PE money specifically,
Yeah.
I know that agency is going to sell hard to double and to sell. And so I think to myself, does that agency make the best partner
Right.
for a long-term engagement?
Right.
And just because of the construct, I go, no,
Yeah.
of course not.
I love that the PE agencies are called independents now. That new,
Well,
that agency's independent.
they're not publicly held, so therefore they're independent. But yeah, I like to distinguish between independent agencies and founder-led agencies,
Interesting.
or agencies that have no external funding. To me, that's truly an independent agency.
Is there value in that? Like, what do you value about that no external funding thing?
I value the adherence to partnership and to creativity.
Because they don't have an alternate goal.
Those are the agencies that give a shit.
Yeah. Because they don't have an alternate goal. Like, we need to grow this because we need to sell this.
Right.
Yeah. Any other worries about the industry?
So other worries, I guess, AI is, have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
AI and Gen AI. I've heard of both of them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I need to be learned.
Yeah.
AI is interesting because you got some agencies who are like full bore AI embrace. Others are, we're just going to use it a little bit here, but not tell anyone.
Right.
It's there. It's part of the equation. You're using it. You have to create value in that. You can't allow the conversation to be, oh, my agency could do so much more, so much cheaply that it shouldn't cost as much.
Right.
When you couple AI with the human brain and you provoke AI the way you need it to, you're going to get to something so much better than you had in the past, which has a lot more value.
Yeah. And so many things, so many more things. I always talk about, like, I'm a person who has like 500 ideas a minute. I'm like that kind of neurotic creative.
Yeah.
But I can only produce one a week.
Yeah.
You know, whatever those ideas are, whether they're like something at home or a vacation or like literally creative ideas at work. And now I'm able to like put to test so many different things at once. Like, I can write an article in 5 minutes just by guiding where like kind of
where you want it to go.
What I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And it feels like now those very visionary creative people, whether they're on this client side or not, I'm just saying creative directors, are about to be so much more valuable. Truly like visionary people that have a lot of ideas are about to be, I'm about to be so overpaid almost.
There you go.
I like it.
I do too. I'm about to be overpaid too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm producing the best work of my life. When you interview 20 stakeholders, you've got 40 pages of notes.
Right.
So what did you do a few years ago? You retyped your notes, you reread your notes, you highlighted things, you took a week to figure out what the commonalities were and what you learned.
Yeah.
And then you only stopped working because you ran out of time.
Right.
And you either produced something good or great depending on how your brain was functioning.
Yeah.
Now I have AI manipulate my notes. Of course, I'm adding my own thoughts to it. And what about this? And what about that? And have you thought about this? And so my first draft is awesome.
Yeah.
But then I've got more time to make it better and better and better. And I don't need 3 weeks anymore. 3 days is enough.
So you usually work with Fortune 1000 companies, would you say?
1,000 is probably right, but also mid-sized companies. We probably work with companies that have that range in budget from like 10 million to 200 million plus.
So in that sphere, if you were to today construct a vision for an agency, what is the perfect partner? What is the perfect extension for a Fortune 1000, Fortune 500, whatever you're dealing with, business? What are the capabilities that come to mind that if you can wrap all around, like if you could perfectly, obviously doing is much harder than saying, but if you could say, in 2 years or in next year, I would want this mix of capabilities sitting together, truly sitting together, what would that be?
Yeah, interesting. First off, those companies that we're talking about, they're not all the same. So it's their business models dictate the types of services they need.
Right.
However, there are certain functions in an agency that I would like to see coupled. Creative with media is definitely something. Now that may be very 1940s of me.
No, now it's like even.
But there is so much connectivity between creative and media. I think those things belong together. Obviously, any activation services should be under the umbrella as well. But I don't want agencies to race to the bottom, be all activation. I want agencies to be fueling the brands, to be thinking about the brands, to be thinking about the position.
When you say activation, say more, you're saying like in the funnel activation. So creative and media together.
Yeah.
You got that. What else do you want?
Well, creative and media are big territories.
Yeah.
Because where do you put social media? It's probably in one of those buckets.
In the middle. If you have it together, that's what social media is, right?
Right. So
social media is just as much media as creative.
That's where I'm heading. So if you have media and creative together, you end up having a lot of things together.
Yeah.
As a result of that.
Talk to me about what are those things like typically called?
Well, like data analytics, and research and business insights.
Influencer.
Yeah. Sure.
Is PR a separate thing still or no? Is PR agency a thing?
PR agencies
or is social PR
don't call themselves that anymore. I'm finding we're talking about they call themselves communications agencies or corporate communications agencies.
Yeah. Do they move up the funnel and become corporate communications?
Or communications,
right?
In general, because PR agencies, the big PR agencies, many of them have creative capabilities. Some of them have media capabilities. Some of them have definitely social media, because when social media was becoming a thing, everybody could claim it. Right. But I think the PR agencies really had the upper hand on basically saying, hey, we've always been in PR. This is just a different,
Right. Do you think the thought process is the same? Because I often find like PR agencies, or just the idea of PR, is so careful, so crafted, so buttoned up, and so planny, and so writing forward, and where social is the kind of the opposite, where you have to iterate, you have to go from, PR seems like I have shipped the thing and that's the thing.
Right.
And social feels like we kind of put something out to see how it does. So mentality wise,
it depends on what the PR function is. So if it's media relations, then you're right.
Right.
But if it's more marketing PR, then you're more diving into the world of social media.
Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Thank you. Awesome. This has been fantastic.
Yeah,
Can I hug you?
So much. Say that again. Yeah, 100% you hug me.
Come on in. Bring it in.
Awesome, dude. Thank you very much. I've learned so much from that.
Enjoyed it so much. Thank you. Are we still rolling?
Yes.